Are you a thoughtful leader? Maybe you are. Maybe you think you are. Let's find out. I'm Mindy Gibbins-Klein. I'm author of The Thoughtful Leader and host of the Thoughtful Leader podcast. Thoughtful leadership is all about thought leadership that goes above and beyond. Thought leadership that is truly new and original, exciting, disruptive, maybe even groundbreaking. Because let's face it, we need to raise the bar. My guests and I are absolutely obsessed with finding truly original thought leadership, and I'm going to bring you so many exciting ideas and opportunities, things for you to think about, and chances for you to push your thinking that you'll be very glad you tuned in. So thanks so much for checking out Thoughtful Leadership and the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. Let's talk about pain. I don't know if you spend time thinking about pain, and I don't know if you suffer from chronic pain. If you do, I really feel for you, because over the past few months, I've had some very minor health challenges, but they've involved pain in different parts of my body. And it's just made me think that the thoughtful leader has pain of various types throughout his or her life. And there's possibly a bit more thought that can go into how we share that, how we deal with it, but mostly how we share that with others. So that's what's on my mind today. And I really wanted to share this idea, get your thoughts on it, and perhaps provoke a bit of consideration if you are going through something painful, or if you have been finding it hard to deal with pain, either physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, there's lots of kinds, to find a way through it and make sure that you feel happy with the way that you're sharing. So that's my goal every time, is to give you resources to help you consider things so that, you realize you have these choices. You have the choice how to respond, what to say, how to say it. And when you're in pain, I think sometimes the thinking process can be clouded. I know mine was, and I was really trying to avoid strong medication. That was my concern, that it was going to cloud my thinking even more. Anyway, let's get started talking about different kinds of pain and how to think about it and how to make decisions regarding what we do about it and who we share it with. Firstly, if you are going through or have gone through something painful, I would say to sit with that and not ignore it. This partly comes from my philosophy of thinking things through, spending more time considering, but also my recent experiences. For people who are overachievers like us, it may be tempting to ignore something painful or negative or something that's perceived as negative, and pain usually is. There's a hint there. And then what we do is brush it under the rug because there are more important things to do. And, we want to put on that happy face and show up to the world like everything's perfect. So that's not a bad goal, by the way. There are no good and bad goals. If you are generally a positive person, I suppose you don't want to be complaining about pain and show up that way and be that person who's always moaning or complaining, right? Have I nailed it? Because I can relate. That's me. I do not like complaining to others. So I'll just state that up front before I launch into the rest of my ideas. I don't think there's much benefit in complaining to others. Now, sometimes if we really need someone's help, and I have over the past months and years, you have to share what's going on. But just to complain for the sake of it, to vent, yes, it feels good for you, but it's my belief that then other people take that on board if they choose to. And if they have empathetic and sympathetic bones in their bodies, they feel for you. And therefore, they're now concerned about you. And unless they're able to help in some practical way, they might feel pity for you. They might just feel caring for you, which is fine. But if you do it all the time, it can get a bit tiring for the other person. This is my belief. And I'm always thoughtful about how I share my beliefs. But this also has played out over various experiences in my life. And there have been people in my life who shall remain nameless, who every time I spoke to them were complaining about something painful. And after a while, I just felt exhausted. And I thought, well, I don't know what you want me to do or say. And if you just want me to listen, I have been listening, and this is like a broken record. So that has made me very wary of complaining for the sake of it, or just sharing my pain and expecting the other person to hear or be there every time. So what's on the opposite side of that spectrum? Not sharing anything ever. And hopefully by this time you know how I feel about that. That is not an option for us thoughtful leaders. It's not. We can't not share anything ever. And if we don't ever share anything negative or painful, then we can risk appearing too perfect, too fake, because people know that life is not perfect all the time. Life is perfect generally. And that's because, we have ups and downs, we have things that happen, we have challenges, but then we get through them, we have problems and we solve them. And so the overall effect is life is perfect. But if we come across with that veneer of perfection all the time, oh yes, everything in my life is perfect always, I think people know that that's not true. And therefore, I believe they lose trust in us if we do that. And I'm purposely saying us. I'm including myself in this because I don't enjoy, as I say, sharing my pain for the sake of it, being vulnerable as a strategy, none of that. But to be authentic, to show up as myself, good and bad, ups and downs, that allows people to engage at that level. And that is really the only level at which we can engage. So when we're going through pain, when I'm going through pain, let me make it personal. I think about it. And here are the questions that I use. And if these help you, great. They have helped me a lot over the past months and years. So the questions go something like this. Is this something that I want people to know about? Because there are some very, very deep pains and traumas that we don't want out there, especially in this age of social media. And, you cannot control who says what, who shares what you say. You say, oh, this is confidential. It could leak out. So is this something I want out there? And if so, who would be the best people to share it with? I will tell you a secret. When I first got onto Facebook in 2008, so we're going back 13 years now, I got very excited about it. I got, a bit trigger happy posting things. I don't think I really shared, and opened the kimono like some other people did and still do. But it was a wonderful way to kind of broadcast things and help a lot of people in my community, in my network, in my circle of friends, see what was going on. It's very efficient. However, I don't think in those early days I really thought about everything I shared because I did have one or two comments like, Mindy, this doesn't sound like you. This, this sounds quite negative, and I don't think I was putting the thought into it. And then I began to be a little bit more or a lot more careful, discerning, thoughtful. And I have hit on the way that I like sharing. So I run myself through those questions. Who am I going to share it with? It may not be a public post on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever, LinkedIn. I mean, let's face it, people don't expect that kind of outpouring of emotion on LinkedIn. It's changing, but that it's out there then. I'll just leave it there. And then how am I going to share it? And I do craft my posts very carefully, as I've discussed many times on this podcast and elsewhere. I am thoughtful with my language, with my words, with my posts, with my writing generally, with my speaking generally, because I really care. I really care about how it comes across. I hope you get that. After all this time, I really hope you get that. So if I'm sharing something painful, I put even more thought into it. Am I going to share it at all? Who am I sharing it with and how? What am I going to say? And I do reread my posts, even short ones, and I might let it sit there and I might think about it and I might even wait till the next day if it's not something critical and then decide and then post or not. So maybe you need to think about these things. Maybe you don't, but maybe you would like to put more thought and consideration into how you share painful things. So let's just finish with a couple of other examples of how this plays out with people you know, people you work with, people who are close to you. It's not only about the pain that you are going through, but I have also begun to think about the pain that I could cause or have caused to others. This is another whole dimension. If you feel capable of doing this level of thinking and caring, then I encourage you to really consider, putting yourself in that person's shoes. That's the empathy. Thinking about if you say something, even privately, will it cause pain? Recently, I sent a private WhatsApp message to somebody, and it was just something I wanted to tell them, but I agonized about it because I knew it would cause them a bit of pain. It was something they'd put out publicly. I wanted to give my feedback privately. And what I did was I wrote the message, I sat with it. I suppose I couched it in certain terms, used a few emojis, said that I was happy to talk about it. They received it really well. I'm really not able to give you the details. I wish I were. But let's just say that they put out something a little bit embarrassing, and I was giving them private feedback about how they could modify it. That's it. They came back to me, and it was a thoughtful response to my thoughtful comment. So I avoided the pain. Well, I have no idea if they felt the pain when they first read it, if it stung, but they responded very nicely and thoughtfully, and we're still friends. And they have modified the potentially offending post. So how about if you feel pain that someone else caused to you? Well, I don't know if that's the right way to put it. I don't know if they cause it to, whatever they have done has resulted in you feeling some pain. Let's put it that way. They haven't maybe caused it. You've chosen to feel pain. Oh dear. What about that? What about how you sit with that? How you could think about that and maybe consider another way to look at it. If you've seen my TED Talk, you know that I believe that sometimes we need to change ourselves to be ourselves. That's the name of the talk. If you feel that your response it tends to be feeling hurt, if you feel like everybody has been out to get you, if you feel like you are often the victim, these are legitimate feelings. And it's possible for you to take a step back or up and to be more thoughtful in some way how you can consider another way to look at this. If you have to be quite strong psychologically and emotionally, I think, to do this work. And if you feel you are, if you think, I don't like always lashing out and, always finding fault and always feeling hurt, imagine that there's a choice. And this is some deep work, and you can work with a counselor, psychotherapist, all kinds of people, not me. This is not my area of expertise. I'm just asking you to put the thought in and decide if you would like to change your reactions, your response, your behavior, and maybe your language. The language is the easiest thing to change, because if you feel like lashing out, you can zip it. You can simply not write it or say it. That you might feel like writing or saying something, but no one will know if you are taking extra time to consider your response. And this is where you empower yourself. So I'm not saying that you won't feel the pain. Can you transform it? Can you begin to put yourself in the other person's shoes, or think about why they acted or the way they did or said what they did? I'm not sure, because there are so many different scenarios. In a work situation, and you have to work with that person on a daily basis, or, you don't want more bad feeling in teams. You really can choose a different response, and that's you having the power to choose that. This is something that I think is a lifelong journey. This is not something that you just wave a magic wand and fix or sort out overnight. But if you have that intention, as we've spoken about in the past, you can choose to consider this situation in a different way. So I know that's been a bit vague. There have been, I'll see if I can give you a personal example that doesn't point to a specific person. So in my life and business, let's stick to business. I have had people say things about me or my business. I've had people copy my copy, copy my words, copy ideas. But that was my perception. They say that if you are given an idea, at least 7 other people in the world are given that same idea at the same time. This is kind of a universal concept. And who knows how many will act on that. So if you feel someone's copied you or stolen an idea, perhaps they were given that same insight or idea at the same time you were. Perhaps it's coincidence. If you find your exact words or your copy on someone else's website, that is painful and that is worth pursuing. Other than that, or website, email, you know what I mean? If they've plagiarized you in a book, very serious. But ideas, there are so many. There'll be so many others that, maybe the best way for you to move on is to get into a reflective space and place and to come up with some more ideas, to really allow yourself to expand instead of feeling the pain, reacting to the pain, which contracts. I feel that really shrinks our energy and ability to act. A lot of big concepts coming out here, and I'm just going to finish off by saying that you are amazing. I know you are, because we're connected, and I really only connect with amazing people. And the other thing I will say is that you are perfectly capable of looking at the pain that you feel and the pain you may have caused others, or whatever others have chosen to feel because of what you've said or done. And I know that you are capable of transcending that and responding in a more thoughtful way in future. I know this in my soul. I know that you are capable of doing more and being more. And pain is part of life. It's going to be there. How long you sit with it, how long you react to it, feel it, allow it to affect your life and your physiology and your mind, that's up to you. So I hope these insights have given you something to think about, something to play with, something to work with. I don't have all the answers by any means. I just like to share these thoughts around being more thoughtful, and in this case, being thoughtful around pain, that can help us to have a better life, a more peaceful life, a more integrated life, and I guess a more successful life when you feel empowered. So I hope you do. And I've enjoyed spending this time speaking with you. If you do watch the TED Talk, by the way, I would absolutely love a thumbs up on YouTube, a share, a comment, your thoughts, because I honestly believe we have the power to change ourselves. And when we do, we actually can become more of who we're meant to be. And that involves being open to that change and choosing to change. So good luck with that. And I look forward to connecting with you again next time. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Thoughtful Leader, and I hope it's inspired you to be more thoughtful as a leader in your business. Please consider subscribing and leaving a review. An important question for you. Do you want to create a culture of thought leadership in your organization? My best-selling book, The Thoughtful Leader, is available now on Amazon and many other sites in paperback, ebook, and audiobook formats. Please visit www.mindygk.com for more great content. That's www.mindygk.com. Speak to you again soon.